Hear you. All right, I'm gonna bring them on in. Good morning, everyone. Welcome on in. Happy Wednesday. We're gonna give it a few seconds. I know that it takes some time for us to get all logged in and settled. As we are settling in, I'll start with some introduction and just a little bit of background about our webinars and housekeeping. So my name is Mikhail English. I work for ICSPS, and today I will be your moderator and tech support. As we go through in our webinars, some good things to know is number one, you will be muted and you can't undo your camera. That's just how our webinars work and in these sessions. And so if you ever have any questions or difficulties with tech, send those in the chat, or you can put that in our Q&A section and I'll help you get those questions answered at the end of our session. And any tech support, I'll get what you need out of this session. In addition, there is a closed captioning function. And if you want to access that accommodation, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's going to be a CC button and maybe like a little screen, or you can press the three buttons and get to your closed captioning tool there. On top of our closed captioning accommodation, this session is also recorded. This recording and the materials that are used here today will be put up on our WIOA PD website. So if at any point in a week from now you're like, oh, Chantel taught me this really cool thing about AI and I can't remember, you can head over to our website and you'll be able to find it there. The next thing that I wanted to go over is we generally do some polls. Here are our standard polls. There will be two questions for you all to answer this morning, or I guess this afternoon. It is 1 p.m. Question one, which partner do you represent? So where are you at in the workforce? And question two, where is your local area? Thank you guys. We're seeing lots of responses off the bat. Lots of Title One. Very exciting, and really all across the state. Again, if you're just coming in, we are answering two polls at the beginning of our session. Number one, which partner do you represent? And number two, where is your local area? All right, I'm going to share and end this poll. Thank you for everyone who came on in and responded. Here are our results. Again, we see Title One is a big one, but we also have some other WIOA partners and stakeholders, some Title Two, and a little bit of State Board. And again, all across the local area of Illinois, which is exciting to see a lot of representation across the state. Thank you for taking the time to do that. The next question, before I kind of start to dive into content with you all here today, is I would love to ask you something from our presenter, Chantel. In the chat, if you use AI at work, whether that's every single day or a little bit here and there throughout the weeks, I want you to give a thumbs up in the chat. If you're someone who does not use AI at work, you're going to give a thumbs down. Again, if you're someone who uses AI, beautiful. Thank you. I see one that is a thumbs up. Again, if you need to get to those emojis, there's a little smiley face that'll help you. Lots of thumbs up. Thank you for your answers. Give it a few more seconds to see. If you're using AI at work, you're going to give a thumbs up. And if you do not, you're going to give a thumbs down. A few thumbs down, but across the board, we're seeing a lot of thumbs up. Love it. Okay. Now, as we start to jump into our content, today we're talking about AI, we're talking about the tech industry. And the tech industry is really known for creating innovative products that shape how we live and we work. As we can see, a lot of people are using it at work. Tech does fall into that. So behind every one of those innovations, there are people. And Chantel Thomas, our presenter today, is one of those people and really built her career on this experience. She actually began in the marketing and technology products, but realized her deeper calling was serving the people behind the work. And her professional journey really spans globally upon a lot of big and recognized organizations, including IBM, Cisco, Lenovo, and even Amazon. And within those walls, she discovered her purpose, which is really helping organizations design workplaces where people can truly thrive. Now, as the managing founder of Inside Out Strategies, IOS, Chantel brings together every chapter of her journey to help organizations design intentional and inclusive workplaces. She believes that the employee experience deserves the same rigor and care and intention as the customer experience, because when people thrive, businesses do too. She now lives in the Silicon Valley of the South, Durham, North Carolina, but her unmistakable Southern drawl is a lasting souvenir from the low country South Carolina roots. By day, she works to use tech for good, helping companies turn inclusion, culture, and human centered design into measurable success. By night, like many mothers, she's simply trying to figure out what's for dinner. So, thank you all for being here again, and I'm going to pass it off to our presenter, Chantel Thomas. Chantel,
Thank you so much, Mikhail. Ah,
I
that
want
was, oh, go
perfect.
ahead. I'm
There you
sorry.
are.
Yes, I'm good. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mikhail, for that. That was a mouthful. I always, when I listen to people introduce me, I always think of how could I make that shorter? Okay, so here I go. I'm going to make it shorter. Here's my version of who I am, everybody, in like just a few words. I really believe that who we are informs how we work. What do you think, Mikhail? Could I have condensed that down?
It's beautiful.
Who we are really informs how we work, and that is near and dear to what I do, how I do it, why I do it, what is the driving force, and why I'm here today with you. So thank you so much, Mikhail, for my long introduction. I think maybe I'll start working on it to make it a little shorter. And thank you all for being here and taking our little thumb poll. And our thumb poll really suggests what the researchers say, that 88% of people are actually using AI at work. And I feel like you agree, Mikhail, we kind of got like a little bit of that here, like the large majority using it at work, and the smaller majority, not yet. I'll say not yet. And that's checking out, and all of the smart people who are doing the research and figuring this stuff out, that is the case. And so we have almost a huge majority using it, almost like the huge majority that's using the internet. With new inventions, it takes time for adoption. And so we're on that spectrum right now. And along with that, there is some parts of it that folks have adopted and some parts of it that folks have not adopted. And so we now get an opportunity to learn about what it is around that adoption. But before we get to that, I want to give you a little kind of background on me and what kind of got me to this point. I am a bit of I call it a Carolina girl. And the reason why is because I cover both North and South Carolina. I started out in South Carolina way back when. I'm doing this because I'm going to go ahead and date myself so that you all can give me some grace when I say things that are really old. So I am dating myself. I was born in South Carolina and lived there till about 1990. And then I have been in North Carolina since. So I made North Carolina my home, even though I always say I'm going home when I go home to visit the Low Country. But I'm sharing that with you because I also want you to give me some grace on my Southern drawl, because that is something that I have never been able to leave behind, even though I have been in North Carolina for a very long time. So I grew up in a family that was our street was actually named for my family. So that I'm just giving you a hint about how rural of a place that I grew up. And I grew up in a really cooperative place. And when I say who we are informs how we work, it really was the cooperative nature of the space in which I grew up in that really has informed a lot of who I am and how I work. And so, as a part of that, all of us on my little street, my family, none of us were farmers, but every single one of us had a garden. And the reason why we had a garden was because every twice a year during harvest, we actually shared what came out of our garden. And so everyone was responsible for growing different things. And in my family, we were responsible for growing potatoes, beans, um, we even had a pear tree. And during the summers, we caught up with the watermelon. That was the ones that we grew in our little family. But how it worked was during harvest time, everybody would share all of their things. So, because I lived on a street that had lots of uncles and aunts and grandparents, and so you can imagine that type of life made me a busy kid. I was always working. I was literally always working on sustaining us and with the food from our garden. But something happened around the time I was I think around 9 or 10. My mom moved to Chicago. And so in the summers, I would come up there with y'all. So I have a little bit of Illinois in my history too. So I would summer with y'all up in Illinois, and it was lovely. It was so much better. The park parties, the cruises on Lake Michigan. Oh, my mom used to take me on Sundays to the Magnificent Mile and go shopping. I think it was Marshall Fields. Y'all have to correct me. I can't remember if it was Marshall Fields or Carson's, but maybe it was both. But we used to do that in the summers in Chicago. And oh, I love the summers in Chicago. And you can probably guess that it was a whole lot different than what it was like back on the farm. But I'll tell you that there were some good things happening on the farm too. Because one of those summers when I came back home, my grandfather had bought a tractor. And that, oh my goodness, changed the game. I remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, life is now going to be like what it's like in Chicago. It's going to be easier around here. Everything is going to be more efficient because my grandfather had acquired the grandfather of all tools. He had acquired a tractor. And so I was so excited, and so was he. Because like I said, for me, that meant that things were going to be quicker and more efficient, and I was going to gain some of my time back. Because one of the other things that I like to do is luxuriate and read. And so I was already like all excited about all the things that I was going to get to do. Because I grew up in a time in which the kids were the tools. We were the appliances. And so that meant for me that anything that was going to take away some of the work was exciting for me. And I'll tell you, I was some of the work with like taking care of the garden, that went away, but I was still the sweeper because they didn't buy a vacuum. I was still the dishwasher because they didn't buy a dishwasher. I was still mixing my grandmother's sweet potato pie by hand. And I was still deeply acquainted with our clothesline because we did not have a dryer. So I was really excited about this new tool, but I know how it is. Kids really are the tools in their family in a lot of ways. And I said to you that I was dating myself, but now I'm going to ask you to date yourself, because are you willing to share what tool were you as a kid? We all friends here because Mikhail told me that you all are a great bunch and very collaborative. So I feel like I can ask this question. So I'm going to get you to share with me, what tool do you remember being as a kid? And we're all friends here. It won't go past this. But just know that as you get into this, you can scan this QR code, or you can, I think Mikhail is also doing me a favor and putting the link down in the chat window. So either or, you can do whatever works. But when you get into it, you do have to put your name in, but your name is not going to be recorded on the screen. We are just going to see some of the tools that we think we were when we were kids. Because I share with you mine. I was definitely the tractor, pre-tractor, and I was definitely the vacuum and dishwashing. Oh my gosh, I was definitely that. And I got to tell you, I'm still that, because my mom she's already moved back home to South Carolina, and she refuses to install a dishwasher. So I'm still the dishwasher too. Is there, Mikhail, are you getting any insight if folks are able to do it? Oh
Yeah,
gosh, the
I'm
broom.
just, I
The
was
broom,
just gonna
yeah,
reiterate, you're gonna
yeah.
go to that QR code and go
Mhm.
onto the link, enter that code after you bypass that entry level, or you can sign
Yeah,
up or sign in.
yeah. Oh, I see it. Look at that,
There
all mentioned.
they
Ah, I know you all are my people. Yes. I feel, oh gosh, I forgot about the remote control. Whoever said that one, oh my gosh, that was my main job. I feel like the remote control for the 5 channels on the TV, because that was, I told you I have a very rural upbringing, so we literally had 5 channels, and so, but I was still the remote control for the TV also. Definitely. And I love seeing this. It's so funny. And I hope it's giving you a bit of a throwback moment too. Oh, somebody else added the remote control too. So I definitely so glad to see that I was not the only active tool in my household, but in that I'm among folks who do remember what that's like. Thank you all for sharing, and you can totally share that any other time. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I think about all the time now is that I already told you that my mom, she definitely did not. We still are using. I'm still the dishwasher when I go home, but when I think about some of the things that we used to do, I am so glad that I still have a cousin, just one out of all the houses, who still plants a garden. And that garden he plants every year for us, collard greens, so that we can cook them at Thanksgiving. And so that is one thing that still remains, that's still going on in my little small hometown in South Carolina. But here's one thing that I think that my granddaddy, in all of his excitement and his willingness and his want to surprise me and my little cousins, he forgot to ask us, like, what is it that we wanted? Because he had no idea about the things that I really liked about gardening. And he had no idea about the things that really brought me joy. And I think when I think about us and the work that we're doing, and the fact that we have to pause and ask for, like, what it is that the people who are helping us make these dreams come true and bring these things to market, Like, what is it that they actually like? And when I think about our duties, and from when we were growing up, there was not a democratic conversation or crowdsourcing being had in my little small town. But there was an opportunity for asking, and the reason why I say that is because had my grandfather asked us, because it was me and my little cousins, he would probably have been surprised to learn that what I really liked was walking up and down the rows and dropping the seeds. And I really liked, this is a word only, the folks who, probably are rural, because I don't even know if this is the right way to say this. I really like banking the potatoes like that. I really love doing that. And, but if he had asked, he probably would have invested in the backhoe, because I think that's the name of the attachment that makes it easier for you to make the rows. So he would have attached the backhoe, purchased, invested in the backhoe along with his tractor instead of that seed drill. Because I actually love like dropping the seeds, but he, in all of his excitement and exuberance to being able to even purchase a tractor, like he purchased what I felt like probably was not the best thing based upon what the capabilities were of his helpers, me and my little cousins. But just like I feel like on a small family farm, the same thing can happen in a workplace where there is misalignment with the investment, and those add-ons that we purchase may not be relative for the people that we're trying to help automate the processes. And just like it happened in my small little family farm, it's definitely happening in a lot of workplaces. But the thing is that we are going to do it differently because we are going to ask. Because the workplace of the future really requires that. Because there's much more riding on our workplaces and their transformations, definitely, than what was riding on my little family farm. So we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about the workplace of our future, the kind where the talent and the tools are valued with equal measure. Because we do not want to continue to lose with AI. We want to gain. So do a little heart me if you're ready. A little heart. I learned this from the younger kids, like the little heart. I love that when they do that. And now on the iPhone, if you do it, like hearts pop up. I don't know if that happens with Zoom. Mikhail, you might have to tell me. I don't think that happens with Zoom, but at least, show me some hearts if you figured out how to use those reactions, if you are ready to create the workplace of the future, because I am. So I'll tell you that I really believe that doing this right requires the people first. And so assembling a workplace kind of transformation committee, because it needs to include doers, influencers, and executives. They need a seat at a table too, because things accelerate when they're in the room. And I think it starts first with a mission. You have to have a mission and a mandate in order to get this thing going. And tell me any words that jump into your mind that would be in your mission. You see mine, that I created to lead AI adoption by asking the right questions, engaging our workforce, and turning insight into action. Like that says a lot for me because number one, it has workforce in there. That one says that it's the people that are what we're turning this on for. And so that's important in my mission. But tell me some words that I might have missed. You can put it in the chat. And Mikhail, you're going to have to read it because I'm sharing my screen so I can't see. So you can, if anybody are putting some good words about what they would put inside of their AI mission, definitely share them with me because I can't see.
And while we're waiting for some words that they would put in their AI mission, there were some hearts in the chat, so I wanted to share. We're getting lots of hearts.
Because they're ready for the workplace of the future, of our future. Yes, I'm calling it.
Absolutely.
It's not because I know that you all probably have been hearing the moniker about the workplace of the future, but I really want the distinction of, we are building the workplace of our future, because I think it's critical that it's human centered and it's something that we want to make sure that it stays in the middle of. So our future. So if you have some other words, if not, you can let me know, Mikhail, if no words jumped in there. But that means that everybody really just like my mission because I hit it on all the things. Action, I got the people up in there with the workforce, and I got the adoption in there. And I think those are three key things that need to happen when we're thinking about settling up and setting people on a mission to for transformation.
Yeah, and there was one by Cleveland Pitts who said building frictionless AI software for everyone as well. That one was in there.
Oh, I like the word everyone, Cleveland. Yes, yes, doing it for everyone. Because when we think about the word inclusion, that is the demand that we are thinking about everyone at every level, at every capability that we want to bring into this to have the level of success that we want in order to have the, driving the adoption that's needed for AI to take place inside the workplace. So, yes, I'm with you, Cleveland. That's a really good one. And I think so. I'm gigging on the fact that I think I may have gotten a lot of what you all may have been thinking about in my little mission. But I say that when we begin, we got to have a mission, and we definitely have to have a mandate. And I am going forward and I am giving you all a mandate, but this is going to feel familiar because we're going to use the same kind of moniker about the tool. Like, I love an acronym, and that you'll probably see another one in here because I love an acronym. But I say this, I love acronyms because it helps you remember. It helps you remember like what it is, and recall. It makes recall easy. It makes it really tangible. So I hope when you think about the AI adoption and transformation that's occurring inside of your organization, you think about the tools that it's going to take. And it's going to take transparency. It has to have clear ownership. It has to establish trust through the ways that you communicate and reach out to people, and demonstrate your commitment. And it has to continue to loop in leadership. So hopefully this one kind of makes it easy for you to remember. But as I was putting together, because I'm always looking for an acronym, and so as I was putting it together, it made me think that there are lots of opportunities for transformation within organizations. And this tool, kind of thinking about it from the perspective of a tool, like, it has variability. Like, you can even mix that up. Like, but just the idea of the tool, just like us, when we were thinking about when we were young and not being consulted, and we were the tools. But the tools and how we use them and why we are doing it and acting in this manner about asking. I love the framework around the idea that it's a tool. And hopefully you can use that in the transformation and the change that's occurring in lots of different areas, maybe in your organization. But one of the core things that is inside of how you ask is actually asking. And because now we've got the mission, we've got the mandate, And this listening strategy is so important because what this is going to do is begin to signal to your workforce that you want them to be included in this adoption strategy that you're driving and this transformation that you're putting together. And so building some type of system in order to continuously listen is imperative. And there are three ways in which it can happen. You can do it with surveys, and that's the scaled approach. And that's the one that's going to give you all of the quantitative data that you take into meetings. Leaders really love those. But then there are focus groups, and that's where you kind of go for more depth and also the qualitative insights that are going to help you bring some of that quantitative data together. And then along with those focus groups is really important as you think about building them, that you ensure that 4 types of listening skills kind of sit inside of them. Analytical, critical, relational, and task focused. And hopefully in those descriptions you kind of can gain like what it is that the people are doing. But focus groups are successfully managed because lots of people are talking and sharing. They're successfully managed when there are people that are listening, but they're listening for specific tasks. So like the task focused person in the focus group is likely the one that's taking the notes. They are the ones that are maybe noticing some of the trends that are happening, and can help the person who is analytical, maybe even reshape the question that may be on the table that has already been formed. I normally sit on focus groups in that relational space. I'm the person who's doing the warm up a lot of times with the people, helping them to understand like why it is that we're doing this, really being able to express the message and the gain from it. I'm always the one at the front of the door welcoming them in, building that sense of psychological safety inside of the room. So as you think about, standing up any type of listening strategy and doing a focus group, be certain that you build in these kind of 4 styles of listening so that all of these things can actively be happening and you're getting the right outcomes. And then the third listening style is listening strategy is the listening circle. And the listening circle is the one that's really important because this is the one where you include the leaders. So think about the survey being the big scaled one, and you have all of the data and all of the insights. And then you're going to take those insights and maybe bring together a focus group, maybe based on like a particular outcome that comes from that. And that outcome can be based on a particular trend that you see or something that's happening demographically. Like if you find that all of the people who live in Illinois are saying this, then you might want to do one with, a focused demographic inside of in order to focus and unpack that to get the qualitative data that matches some of that quantitative. And then the listening circle is usually the one that you do last because you want to inform the leaders so that they can use their positioning in order to advance or bring back some of the things that you have already learned through the other 2 listening systems. Because I'll tell you that if you only use one, you only hear a part of the story. And that's why it's really important to think of this as a system that has been turned on. And so as we think about our survey, the survey is, of course, usually the mechanism that comes first because it's the one that allows you to have that more scaled, a scaled approach. But the key areas that should exist inside of the AI, any type of AI survey, and I'll say this also, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, but any type of transformation or change management or shift tasks that you're doing, like thinking about it from these 6 areas. I use the same, and I'll tell you that as an example. I use the same categories when I was at Amazon and we got the return to office mandate. And we then had to go out and pulse people about what they felt about this thing. And so this applying this methodology, I know I have the word AI survey right here, but you can really plug and play and use this in lots of different shifts or change managements that exist inside of your organization. And hopefully, they're descriptive enough. But readiness, is about adopting AI. Access is literally, do people have access to the AI? Are they comfortable using them? That one, really is around the capability. Capability sits within, the comfort, but then it also drops a little bit. It gives you some indication of the sentiment too, when you kind of couch some of those capability statements. But then the training helps you to understand, how equipped do people feel to succeed. That's going to be the main outcome of that, and that's going to be really critical as you get to planning your actions that are going to come from this. And so the training, the practice is going to give you some insight into how people are actually using it, because, like, we assume that we know that people are likely using it to write emails. I think that was, for me, that was my entree into AI. And the first one that I used was ChatGPT, but I love the kind of using it to just help me rewrite this sentence that had, had too many, froms and does in it. So like just actually doing that, I think, was my entree into it. But that, and I would assume that people, because I'm looking through my lens, right? And I'm assuming that most people are likely using it to do that same thing as a baseline, but really asking them, like, for real, like, how are you using it in your daily work? That is just so critical. And then this one is the strongest driver of adoption. It's how they feel about it, because how people feel about it, it's like a layer that sits on top of how they act, how they talk about it, how it's adopted. And so getting an idea of the sentiment and building out your these questions so that you're getting a sense of that. And because that's going to be really important, like how it's your survey or your outcomes, your actions really kind of get shaped. And so I've already, okay, so I'm gonna recap so I can make sure I'm doing all this. I've given you the mission, the mandate, told you that you've got to have some people stood up in some type of, I call it a transformation task force. And the reason why I call the committee a transformation task force is really because it's a plug and play. You can leverage them. You can reseat this transformation task force for lots of different things. So today we're, seating our transformation task force for our workforce of our future. We're seating them today for AI, but you can really do this same thing and make it repeatable and deliver it for all of your change management. But I'm sharing that with you because now I want you to get involved and take the survey. So let's see. Here we go. I want you to give it a try. We're going to go the same thing. You can scan here. Mikhail is doing, I know, some good stuff in the background in the chat and giving you some links as well. Along with, I think I don't, it's a Google form. So this one's easy. It's just a Google form. And so it's just about 6 questions. I took one question from each of the categories to give you a sense about what it looks like to actually, go through and take an AI survey. So you're going to do that today. So, Mikhail, anything needed from me? Is it working? Links, we got good thumbs up. People can use it.
Yes, links are in there and they are
Yeah.
working.
Yes. All right. I love it. I'm telling y'all, I love when technology works because so often it kind of doesn't. And so I love when it happens. I Oh, look, my TV behind me lost that thing. I should probably you guys are seeing all of the things that I'm watching on Netflix. Is that what it's showing, Mikhail? No.
I have
All
the
the good things
homepage.
all the good things
That's
I'm watching
okay.
on Netflix. Okay. Yes, but hopefully the indication of all the good things I watch on Netflix, it has the Love Is Blind in there because I'm so gigging on that. I don't know who else is, but hopefully everybody is able to get in there and let me know if there's any problems that anyone is indicating. And because I'm going to do a little switching, I'm going to try to do a little switching here, and you might have to help me, Mikhail. Let me see
Yeah,
if I can get
absolutely.
this going. I'm going to see if I. Here is the survey, and we can see folks responding.
Perfect.
Yay! And I'm going to put. I see you in the corner, so I'm going to pull you down. Right? I get it. I did it right this
Yeah.
time. Okay. Yes.
Perfect.
Before you all came joined, Mikhail was giving me, my overview, and so I had to test some things to make sure I'm getting this stuff right. So thank y'all for responding. Yay! um, I I love that we're going through this and giving even like starting a lot of times with ourselves, and even understanding and taking our own temperature. I don't know if other folks do this when they're doing surveys, but I always take my own survey myself. And so you saw that there was like one that was probably done before you got here. I always take so any surveys that or any time that you are pulsing your organization for anything, it's because sometimes sitting in the other seat really helps you kind of analyze it and feel it from a different perspective. And I've had before where I have gone through and actually redone some of my own, questions because it's something about it's like almost like you put the hat on and you feel it differently or as you're doing it because now you're the customer for lack of a better word you're the customer and so it's you drinking your own Kool-Aid and so it comes from a different perspective when that happens.
Mhm. There,
uh,
there
okay,
was one question. Uh,
great.
for the scale for the 1 to 5, which one is greater, 1 or 5?
Oh my gosh, I forgot to go back and add that. My tester told me that. So 5 is greater,
Okay,
1 is lower.
perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So,
You had one
and this is
ask that.
yes. And so this is the other thing. Like when you do something and you do it all the time,
Mhm.
you forget. And you think everybody knows what you knows. That is such a misnomer. And I just fell into that category just now because I forgot to say that. So yes, 1 being the lowest in the sentiment, and then excuse me, in your response, and 5 being highest. So good. We've got like a whole lot of folks responding. So this is really good. So let's go. My team is willing to explore and adopt AI tools in our workflows. And so this is really good that 40%, of people actually believe that that's the case. Because this is when you think about, AI adoption, people actually having some level of engagement and trust with it really lies in their own readiness to use it. And that question that I asked you, that my thumb poll, the first question, actually that was also a readiness question, because if you're using it, that is an indicator that you have a level of readiness to go ahead and adopt it. And then the second one is I have access to AI tools that are useful for my role. This is awesome. 27%. So the wonderful thing that I love about the Likert scale is I always say it wrong, Likert. Am I saying it right, Mikhail? Likert scale. The Likert scale, 1 to 5, is I always look in the middle. So when you see me reading, I'm reading what's likely in the middle, because that is essentially what you say as average. It's the average. So when this is really high, so people have access to the tools. So that's really good. The capability, I can write prompts that produce helpful and relevant outputs. We are ranking on the high, like that's really good. So some of us have been hanging out on YouTube, because that's where I hang out on YouTube to learn all the things. I call it, I go to YouTube University, because I'm like doing all the things to learn. And then I also had a survey class recently too. And so I literally like doing the things that are making it useful for us, means that at a minimum, learning how to prompt it is really important. And so that's such a great indicator for you all that that you have a level of capability that you feel positive about. And then you have helpful resources that are easy to find. That's great when it comes to training. And so, that middle part, 36.4% of people are believing that they have and can easily find what they need for their training and understanding. And then practice. I've built AI into repeatable workflow parts of my workflow. And this is a window. So when you look at this as a median, this one is not, we don't have over, like a high range in the, in the median space for this one. And so it's like, if I were setting up the training, I would immediately say that this is something that it's a gap for us, and we have to build into our training, like where are the areas. And that word repeatable is really important, because these now become the efficiencies. These now become the time savers. And even sometimes the money savers. And so understanding that piece is so important. And so if I were looking at this and this was coming from my organization, I would immediately say, this is the piece that we have to tackle first. When I think about building out those focus groups, that's something that I want to uncover immediately about the practice. And then the sentiment, this one is, I love using the word trust to really uncover what people are really feeling and thinking about their orgs. And so I trust my organization to use AI responsibly. This actually, it's pretty good. Like 33% of people, trust their organization to use AI responsibly. That is like such a wonderful marker. And so hopefully, you just taking a few minutes and going through this and acting as the customer, as when you think about how it is that you're going to deploy something like this for your organization, it lands for you. It means something. And you're thinking about it through that lens of the kind of 6 key areas. Okay, Mikhail, I'm going to go back and tell me if I did this right. Can you all see the screen again with the presentation?
That looks perfect.
I'm such a small win person. Like, I celebrate like everything. And so I love when the things that I think about that are real tasks and things that I don't think I'm going to be able to deliver, that they actually work. Like, I'm so getting Zoom to work for me today. And so that's great. So we did that. So again, I want to also kind of walk you through a little bit of how we think about the kind of what happens next. So think about it from the perspective that you've asked the questions, you've done it, you've likely maybe done some focus grouping, listening circles. People, you have a sense of what your workforce is thinking about, what they're feeling as you think through this transformation. And remember, so important in each one of these areas that you have to tackle is thinking about it through the lens of the tool. Am I doing it in a transparent manner? Am I, owning the outcomes? Am I owning the move forward? How is it that we're reaching out and letting people know? And then how is it that we're looping in leadership? That tool framework is applicable. And you can think about it through each one of these areas. And so now that you have your data, you have your insights from your survey. Now it's important to share the outcomes, and you have to decide how it is that you're going to do that. So are you sharing the outcomes by, doing a meeting? Are you sharing the outcomes by putting it on a landing page and telling people, sending an email and letting them know this is where they can come back and see the outcomes and the plans. And then one of the big things that comes from it first, the main deliverable or content piece that comes from this comes out of the committee first, or transformation task force. You can choose whichever. The main thing that comes out of it is publishing the policies. Like, what is it now that we are going to align as a policy for our people to act by? Because when you leave people in this kind of squishy space and they don't really know, how it is that they should use it, can they use it, which one should they use? You leave the space to kind of for people to fill in their own answers. And so starting first by establishing the committee, getting together and establishing some policies. For instance, maybe the policy is, here at this company, we use Claude because we actually have a enterprise version of Claude that is only sharing our information inside of our organization. And so we want everyone, as they think about leveraging AI, to use Claude as their main interface. So that's like a policy that could come out of this type of work. And now you can publish those policies to let everybody be on the same footing with how they leverage it, what they do. Really important also is briefing leadership. I love an executive brief. Like, literally, I put the word at the top, executive brief, and I'm going to recap everything that we're doing, what our plans are, and looping them in so that they understand. Because, transformations and change management is a real thing that has lots of prickly pieces to it. They touch lots of parts of the organization. And so helping leadership to know and understand the status is such an important part, and the continuous, the continuity, and then also continuously doing it is really important. And I talked to you about those focus groups and listening circles. Next time, I'm going to move that one up a little higher, because those I really believe should be done after we actually deliver the survey. Go ahead and work in your focus groups and listening circles. Make that a part of your listening system, because you're going to get refitted insights from doing those, and getting an opportunity to match that qualitative insight to what you're getting from your quantitative. And do some type of final report with some recommendations. Like, this is what this committee, through our mission, has decided to do, recommend, deliver, and these are the audiences that this will impact. doing that as a critical part of it, because there are, outcomes that you want to see delivered for the people that you're advocating for. Because I think of any time we establish some type of committee, and we're working on behalf of the people that we're serving, we need to be able to surface the recommendations and do that through that human-centered lens. And then inside of that recommendation, establishing some training protocols, that it's like every Thursday for the next quarter, we are going to open up these office hours, and we're going to have some training on how to use Claude, like, right? So how people are using it, that's it in practice. But doing something that's saying, we want everyone to take this particular training that's now sitting in our LMS. Whatever your strategy is, putting it into the recommendations, and all the time putting some dates next to stuff. And I love the idea of establishing champions. Again, champions being connected to transformation task force. Like, this right here is the thing that seeps down the things that you're working on into the organization. So identifying AI champions that support are connected to each part of the organization that's impacted by it. That's how you're going to be able to put a message out and say, make sure you share this message, make sure you share this thing. It's your champions, because they have the trust and the oftentimes they have the continuous engagement of the people that are closest to them. And so you leverage that as a mechanism for pushing out communications and for driving adoption. And then I already said, right, creating transformation task force, right? So it's literally thinking about it from the committee is doing these things, and the transformation task force, if you establish one, then now they are constantly stood up and are able to absorb all the time, are able to absorb shifts and changes and new tools. All right. So I hope that is like a helpful thing to you as you think about the kind of what now. AI is here. And as you continue to kind of think about like what the filling in the answer about the what now, here are some resources that I hope that become valuable to you, because I'll tell you that they are super valuable to me. Number one, I have given you this QR code. When you fill it out and give us some feedback about this session, it is going to give you a bonus. And the bonus is AI survey questions. And it's broken down inside of each one of those 6 areas. And so you'll be able to walk away with that. And hopefully after you've shared with us how you feel about this session and how valuable it was to you. And then I am in the middle of reading this book called The AI Driven Leader. It is excellent. It gives you a kind of a look through what he is trying to push forward, which is leveraging AI, but doing it from an inclusive, human-centered way. And and then making you think as a leader. And I'll tell you, I should say this word also. There is something, we all may or may not have the manager title next to our name or the executive title next to our name, but we are leading projects. We are leading groups. We are leading initiatives. We are leading products to market, or whatever the thing is. You have an opportunity to lead. And so please don't, if manager is not in your title, please don't think that this book is not for you. It is, because it really is. What he's pushing is a mindset that's shaping around the idea of how we can leverage AI to be a game changer, but doing it in a way that is human centered. And I love the book. I like to read books. I don't listen to books all that often, but this one I'm listening to, and it's really good even listening to it. So either or. And then every once in a while, I drop in on this podcast because it has like always like really good people on there, guests that are looking at AI through lots of different lens. And so it gives you the variety around AI. And so hopefully, if you haven't already, check that out. And then the Ernst and Young, they have this report that's out right now called I'm calling it the EY Talent Advantage, but that's not the full name. It's a bigger full name, but for my for my slides, I had to make it smaller. So, but it's the report essentially. If you type in EY Talent Advantage on Google, you're going to get it. But it has like such wonderful insight about where they think it's headed. If people don't adopt it, and all of the friction that exists around the people and the tools if workforces don't really establish these processes and ways of driving adoption. And so it's so insightful when you print it out, because I'm also, oh my gosh, I think I like paper. I'm so old school. I printed mine out. It's probably about 24 pages. So hopefully that's not too daunting for you when you print it out. I love it. I love reading it, on paper, but it's really, really good. It's so insightful. If you're leaning into this AI stuff and thinking about that through the lens of talent management, I think this one is a good one for you to lean into. So hopefully those resources help you, and then you're able to go forward and do all the great things inside of the organizations that you're supporting. But now is your turn, and I got to tell you what the requirement is. Here we go. If you want to ask me a question, you got to answer a question. So I picked the questions that I started with early on, and I told you that I love Love Island. I love both coffee and tea. I'm a night owl. I'm always up at night. I think I sent Mikhail the slide deck probably 12 o'clock last night. And then something people always notice about you, and the task that you happily hand over to AI. Okay, go for it. You can choose one if you want to ask me a question, or Mikhail, if there are already questions in there and you want to throw them to me, that means that you might have to answer the question.
Yes, so at this point, if we want to start off our Q&A by answering one of the questions up on the screen, not all five, it can just be one.
No, just one. Yeah, you got to pick one. If you want to ask me, you got to answer something.
Oh, we have one answer. I hand over keeping track of tasks.
Yeah. Oh,
For
keeping
number five.
track
Yeah.
of the task. Oh, okay. I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, they might have to write in. They might have to write in the chat also, like what is it that they are telling? What tool are they using to
I
do that?
was curious about that as well.
I'm so interested in that. Whoever, okay, you might have to call their name out. Then, Mikhail, help us out, because we're
Yeah.
gonna have to track them down.
So, Cleveland, if you want to respond by what tool you're using to do that, we would love to know. There was another answer for, I think this was two, coffee or tea. And Pat said lately, tea.
Love it. Okay. Any Pat or
Others.
Cleveland, any question for me as you answer that? I love that.
Ooh, Claude Code, and a customer tool that was, or they built with Claude Code.
Claude Code, is that like a agent? Like Okay, we I know we can't get off of mute, but that's good. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, hit me with some questions.
Yeah, are there any questions that we have from the chat or in the Q&A? What tools do you use?
Oh, okay, so I use ChatGPT, and I use it. I just got introduced yesterday to the beauty of Claude, and so someone was telling me that I should have done my whole PowerPoint in Claude, and I'm like, no way, you can do that. And so apparently, Claude is really good for like design work. Like it does a really good job. So somebody shared with me their one pager that they had done on Claude, and it was beautiful. I've tried to get a one pager done on Chat GPT without a wonderful outcome. So I love them all because I just love them because they are a new frontier that is changing the game, because I'm old enough to remember when we first got the internet. So that's why it's all this tech is exciting to me.
Mhm. Absolutely. There is another one from Irene and says, how should I know which type of AI to use? There are so many out there now.
Yes. I can't even tell you. I okay, so I told you that I go to YouTube University. You should go to YouTube and type in the differences between the different AI platforms that are available to us consumers, because there are so many people on there that are offering like such wonderful insight about what the different ones do, that are and because lots of people use lots of different ones because they're doing it, they have like differentiators in lots of areas. So like I shared with you, like the next time that I want to do a PowerPoint or a one pager for myself, I'm going to go to Claude and see what Claude does for me, because I've seen how Claude does it for somebody else, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need it for that. And so now, like my eyes just got turned on to maybe I should be leveraging Claude to do that kind of stuff, because I've already had the experience at Chat GPT. For me, my prompting has not been able to produce that level of graphic design. Anything else? Um,
Oh, there was often also the mention of Claude Skills and Claude Cowork.
oh,
So lots of Claude love
mm.
today.
Oh, lots of Claude love. Lots of Claude love. I love it.
I'm gonna
Okay.
need to check it out. That's actually something
I
that I haven't
know.
looked into or heard of before.
Oh, we
So
got to
thank
do
you,
it.
Cleveland.
Yeah, we got to do it. Do you have any questions, Mikhail? I didn't ask you. Or
I was curious about what demands have you seen from leadership around like AI strategy?
I have seen leadership. I worked for an organization that actually leadership there. They were the ones that stood up the committee. Like, I love that because it says that we know that this is coming at us, it's coming at us fast, and we have to democratize our approach to AI. And so I think the greatest demand that I've seen from leadership is actually recognizing that it is here and we need to do something. And so if you're in an organization that has not yet happened, I hope that you can use the insights that you gained here to actually be an influencer and say, hey, let's put this mechanism in place. Some type of, committee or transformation task force, whatever the thing is, let's put this in place so that we can actually begin to pulse our people, because it's coming. It's not coming, it's here. And if you like right now, I love the project management tool Asana. Asana already has AI capabilities built into it that it will build out the whole project for you. I mean, something that would take me a day back in the days, like Asana just builds it out. And so when you think about in an instant, and so when you think about the time savings that an organization would gain from their people adopting something that simple, because now what would have taken me, like probably 4 hours has now been, changed into 4 minutes. And now, I have the time to focus on, the work that actually has, money or decisions attached to it, money, decisions, and people. Like, you can focus on that kind of stuff because you're not mired in the things that are the things that you need to do in order to get the big thing going. So if I can encourage you all in any way, whatever you see happening inside of your organizations, if you feel like it has not gotten to this stage yet, be the one, be the influencer that says that I have an idea. We can start first with at least standing up a committee to at least outline our policies and get a survey up so that you can get a sense of the sentiment. Good.
Awesome. Thank you. There was another question in the chat that said, morning person here, outside of policy, what would you include or implement to mitigate risk for organizing or organizations using AI?
To mitigate the risk, I think once you have established the policy, I think pushing your people into one solution is the thing that mitigates the risk, because it's, like all of these, platforms have enterprise versions, just like you have your enterprise version of Microsoft. All of these platforms have enterprise version, and there is some app security that is built into it when you actually are using it for your entire enterprise. And that means that the information that's being pushed into it is not getting outside of your area. So if you upload your entire strategy for 2026 and you upload it into Claude, now it's not getting counted into the questions and answers out in the world that Claude is answering. It's actually sitting inside of your enterprise version, just like your email. So I think like forcing. Now I shouldn't say forcing. That's not positive. So motivating the leadership to really adopt one tool that they want people to use in purchasing the enterprise version, I think is the thing that is a game changer.
Awesome. And another thing that Cleveland put in the chat was, I use tools to help increase human connection with customers or colleagues, which I thought was nice.
Oh, I love that. Yes. It's kind of the reminder that I have on my phone to call somebody on Sunday, like call somebody you hadn't talked to on Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does all kinds of things. I have a friend who actually just got a subscription to an AI platform. It starts with an M, but I can't even remember the rest of it. But if anybody else knows about one that starts with an M, but she uses it, and I saw, and she got on a call with me and showed it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, this thing right here, game changer. Because it does all these things. And so what you're talking about, Cleveland, about the outreach, like it does it. It actually can do it. Like it draft the email, and somehow she has the plug into her email, and it'll send the email to people for her. Amazing. And it starts with the M. So if anybody knows it, because I can't remember it, let me know. Anything else? Good. All right.
Yeah, I think that might be.
All right. Okay, we got our questions. We have. All right. Yay, we got our questions answered. Well, then I think for me, what did I do? I love to, I don't know what I just did. what button
Back
I
to the
hit.
front.
You trained me so well, Mikhail, and then I did something.
Heck
And so
yeah.
now you all have to like watch me go through this. But there it is. Okay. I really love to kind of end how I began, kind of talking about my grandfather, because he bought his tractor like with such good intent because he wanted to surprise us, all of his helpers. Like I have like 5 cousins, like all of his little helpers. He wanted to surprise us, and he got the tractor. And like I said, it was with good intent. And but as I think about this and kind of using that analogy of the tractor and the tool, helping us to remember that what we were doing on our little farm and the transformation that our tool helped our little farm, do, it pales in comparison to what we are doing when we're, thinking about the transformation inside of our workplaces. So if I could, encourage you to do anything, use your influence to integrate strategies that allow for asking the workforce before you automate. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Write the invitation, Mikhail. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, sorry, Mikhail.
My
Oh,
apologies.
there it is.
Thank
Oh.
you so much for coming here and doing this with us and letting me know that I was on mute. But if you're looking to contact Chantel moving forward, that information is in the chat, as well as in the next 24 to 48 hours, you'll be getting a survey from us and a little follow-up email from Chantel as well with some words. So thank you guys all for coming out today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.
Mm. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, we really appreciate it.
This was fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mikhail.
Yes, thank
Um,
you. This is
I
lovely.
Good. I hope it was helpful. I hope we have seeded some influencers that are going to go and establish committees to actually, ask,
Yeah,
ask
do the thing.
about auditing. Yeah. So good stuff. Anything else you need
Um,
from me as we close?
I don't think so. You sent me all of your materials. We'll just get that put up, and then
Okay.
I will attach that what you had said as well for the
Okay.
follow-up email, and we'll get that all
Oh,
out.
great. Yay. All right. Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
This was great. I love the opportunity to feel like I'm back in Chicago for just a few minutes.
Yeah,
Just telling that story
it
about the
may
good
not
one
be
that
as
I had.
sunny as it is
Yes.
there, but
Well, it's always sunny here for sure. Oh my gosh, yes. But thank you, Mikhail.
yeah,
Just let me know if you
sure.
need me for anything else. And hopefully we get some feedback and I'll be able to share it with you when we meet for
Yeah,
kind of like a postmortem meeting.
absolutely. All
Okay.
right. Have a good one.
Later. Thank you. I appreciate everything.